talk about it. We said this before. So that matching, like, are there soulmates?
Twin flame. I believe in that.
How do you? I don't know. So if somebody is perfect for your soul, wouldn't they be doing the same thing as you on the other side, or is it someone that perfectly matches what you're missing? Is that what a soulmate is?
I think it's all opinionated, but if I think soulmate, I think the person, it can be, because I think there's different types of soulmates. Like, you have friends that are soulmates. Obviously, your parents are your soulmates, should be. But if we're talking about relationally with a opposite sex, I think it's somebody who fits you. You know what I'm saying? You fit each other. So like we were just saying, like, that person, like, if you're driven and all of that, sometimes it takes another driven person, or it could just take somebody that just has your back. They might not even be as driven as you, but they understand that that's your way of working. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. And
I believe more in opposites attract.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like an opposite type of thing.
Because I feel when you have somebody that, because when it's opposite, it means more they see your vision, but they're just not willingly wanting to do what you do, but they understand. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times what happens is when you got somebody that's so similar to you, you're gonna butt heads. But when you got somebody that understands you, just is able to fall back and not having to want to be in the spotlight, they can champion you. I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you have soulmates. You don't have a soulmate. I think you have potentially like thousands.
Yeah.
You have like thousands of soulmates, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
I think there's like a small percentage of the population, maybe 1% of the opposite sex, like the whole population would be somebody that really, really fit. But in a world with however many billion people we have, there's a small percentage of people who would make a good fit. But that's an interesting question.
I got something on that
because
too.
sometimes like the way you meet somebody, if you just like tweak a couple variables, like you may never have met that person.
Yeah.
You may never have met that person before. Like you grew up in this city, you ran into him, you saw him across the room at that place. You might not have been there that day. You never maybe would have got back to him. So there's a lot of chance involved, but I think part of that means you got to like filter in who you want to be with, to where I feel like one thing that does happen to a lot of people. This is actually a funny story. Well, kind of sad a little bit. I won't name the names.
How many variables?
No, so I was in the car driving with this couple. We were going out in the bar drinking that night.
Swingers?
No. They were just like a married couple, and I was going out to the bar. Like
Swingers?
they were no.
You were driving?
Oh.
He said swingers.
No. So there's this. Well, actually, they were engaged. So these two people, they're engaged. I'm just having a conversation with two engaged people in the car.
There you go.
I ain't gonna ask again.
They're drunk, right? So
Swingers.
no.
Okay, all right.
So I'm asking them the story
Mute this
about.
nigga.
I'm asking them the story about how they got together, right? And basically, they went out on like 2 dates, and then the girl was like, I'm kind of done with this whole dating scene. Like, I'm really serious. Like, are you serious too? And he was like, yeah. So they basically kind of both admitted that they got together because they were like tired of dating. They were like tired of going through the whole dance. Like, you go on a couple days, you have relationships, maybe last a couple weeks, a couple months, it flames out. So I feel like a lot of people get into that where they don't find their soulmate. It's just like whoever's closest to them, and they reach the age where they just want to be
settle
done, and they just want to
for it.
settle. And I feel like that's the vast, not that you need the perfect person, but I feel like the vast majority of relationships and marriages is just settling. The person you meet when you're 28 years old, you're ready to settle down.
In Minnesota,
That's who you 22.
end up.
Right. So that's exactly what happens to people. So that's my 2 cents on the soulmate joint.
I got like a nickel.
Yeah. So with settling, I don't know. I don't see myself being like a settler. I feel like I'm like almost like leveling up rather than settling because like Dino said, it's just like somebody's there to have your back.
Right.
Ayo, you said that there's a potential for more than one soulmate, which I agree. So I think that's what a lot of people get into. I think that's another situation. So it's kind of reverse of settling. So you meet somebody and you're just not in the right spot, right space, or whatever it might be, and you're like, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? So I have a question. Me and Del was talking about this a minute ago. Do you risk, because it might be, let's say it's 10 people that are your soulmates in this world, right? Do you miss, or risk, I should say, passing up on that one in hopes that you would find that second one? You know what I'm saying? Because there's no certainty there. And you know what I'm saying? You might not be in that right space mentally or, financially, whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? But is that a risk that I'll ask you guys? We'll just put ourselves in hypotheticals. Let's say we're in that situation where we meet somebody and it didn't work out or whatever, and then there's a potential that you can fight for it. You know what I'm saying? Or do you risk that, or just say fuck it? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna go ahead and fight for it, or I'm gonna just go and say I'll meet somebody different. You know what I'm saying?
So you got to think about the situation, because like if you go in thinking that you have more than a second,
Damn, that's a bar.
soulmate, you're gonna not put as much effort that you should into that one relationship that you're in. So you might mess up the opportunity to be with your original soulmate chasing the second one.
Yep.
Damn.
So
Good cleanup.
I feel like that you'd only have that one soulmate. If things didn't work out, like you guys came to a mutual agreement where it's like, no,
You can
it's
live with
not
that.
you, it's me situation, or we should be better off as friends situations, then, break off. But if you like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, thinking that you would find somebody else, you're really not gonna find that love in that person that you're with at the one
But see,
time.
Io was talking about settling, and so don't you ever get nervous about the fact that being in a place like Minnesota, knowing that you could travel to Texas, you could travel to New York, and you could run into somebody that's a spitting image of you, and you just never had the opportunity because you put all your eggs in that basket in Minnesota. You know, so I think that's the reason why I stayed single for so long, because I just got so nervous knowing I've just been in this one spot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just imagine if I actually got out of this spot.
But did you ever consider taking your significant other to that place too, and seeing if they might be different in that same situation as well? Like, what if you took your shorty to Texas or New York at the same time you're
There's
dating?
always going to be a better something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the potential
There's
is
a better
always
something
better.
or a richer person. It's always going to be somebody who's got
What's that?
something
That
else
love
on
yours.
you.
By speaking of J. Cole, that love yours. It's always going to be some. It's always going to be some chick that's badder. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the scary thing about the whole thing, though, because if you're one of those people that constantly keeps trying to find that person that's better than the next person, then you're also becoming that person that is 60 and single and never had kids.
TV show.
Yeah.
Is that a show?
No, I'm saying.
Oh,
Could be.
That's good.
Live
Alliteration.
Yeah, that makes you think about like money, right? So like if you don't have enough money and you're like struggling in a job and you feel trapped and like you hate it, that's terrible, right? So you need to get to a certain level to like get out of that. You want to have your own freedom. But then if you keep chasing money and you're like a billionaire and you're working all the time and you have all these houses and stuff, but like you're still not fulfilled because no amount of money is enough. I feel like it's the same way. So it's kind of like I almost think a soulmate could be someone that it's actually interesting. Have you ever had it where at least it's happened to me, where somebody who they just kind of like liked you, they just liked you up front and like they didn't play a ton of games with you. They were just like straightforward with it.
Yeah.
And it almost kind of like turned you off a little bit to where you wanted a little bit more of a challenge, but they were actually just like secure in themselves and they just liked you. Sometimes I think that could be your soulmate, to where we're always chasing after like the baddest
gotta
one
fight,
who
yeah.
everyone wants, who's like everyone's hunting after, but there could be someone who maybe isn't as not desirable is not even the right word, because what does desire even mean, right? But they're not high maintenance, and they actually they're not trying to front. And we have so much like in the whole dating game, like there's so much front end, there's so much little games people play, shit people do, where everyone's afraid of
Getting hurt.
Everyone's afraid of catching feelings.
Rejection.
Everyone's afraid of rejection. So everyone's always dancing around it, to where the MO is not exactly to like let somebody know how you feel about them up front. It's
Yeah.
actually something you probably shouldn't
That's
do right away, because that comes off weird, right?
You playing too forward.
Yeah.
And I think that can push people away too, of course.
Yeah.
At the same time, sometimes you're like, well, fuck it. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like, I think you can do that at a certain point in your life when you get mature enough, you've been through enough, and you're like, all right, you know what? I don't got time. And that's kind of like what you said with the settling. Like, you just be upfront, like, hey, man, like, I've been through enough. You know what I'm saying? I know what I don't want. I know what I want. And I think you might be it. Mm-hmm. So let's see what we can do, and then go from there.
So can you meet somebody and build them into your soulmate? Can someone develop into your soulmate?
Yeah, I think everybody can grow.
Okay, so if you met somebody and right off the back it kind of wasn't like
That potential.
yeah,
man.
that it's like that. It wasn't that perfect match, but then over time it grew,
Yeah.
and then it's like okay,
Well, you rub off on one
are-
another.
You are my soulmate.
You know what I'm saying?
I think,
So-
I think a relationship, a great relationship, anyway, just like even with friendship, I think it's a tug of war regardless. You know what I'm saying? It's a give and a take, and you know what I'm saying. Like, so I think you got to compromise, and I think that's a constant battle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you're ever just okay. We're here. Nah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow or even the next month after that argument where you're logical and she's emotional, now I might be here full circle.
See, I don't know about y'all, but when I see some couples who are been together for a minute, they start looking like each other.
I hate that.
I see it all the time though.
So
but
weird.
then I think
Hey,
that's
what's
one
up,
of those-
Joe? Sarah.
I don't know about all that, but
I was like, wait, who?
Sarah might be a Joe if it's like that.
Might be.
But no, I'm saying because no, but like we talked about that earlier though. So Monte and I were having this conversation where Father Time's undefeated, right? So we could be in our 30s right now. We could feel like we on top of the world, but then Father Time is always clicking. It's always clicking.
Yeah, 40.
You know what I'm saying? And then 40 gonna hit you, and then 50 gonna hit you, and 60 and
Right
70.
here.
And then you get to a point where if you get so lost in the stuff that's happening around you because you're just so fixated on the stuff that you're doing, things are happening around you and you missing it. So Monte was telling me, he's like, Tim, if you don't have a kid before you're 35, let's just say, you're gonna be the person that's gonna be at these high school football games if your kid plays football, guy, boy, girl, whatever it is, and you're gonna be the person that is so old that you ain't gonna be able to enjoy it. And I go, well, Monte, I'm gonna take care of myself. But then he goes, well, Father Time is still gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where in relationships,
They didn't tell me that.
son, even now,
Yeah, I get that too. I be thinking that too. Like, you got to think about like even like a playground, bro. You go running around like you came to me like 2 weeks ago. It's like, bro, I'm gonna have to do something different than running because my knees is hurting. Imagine your son or your daughter, you know, at the playground and they gonna play for 3 hours and you gotta run around, put them on a slide, take them off the slide, push them on a swing, you know, chase them around the park, and all of a sudden you're like, bro, hold up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna have to hire a babysitter to go out to the park every time. Now, you know, you're gonna miss that connection with your kid. I'm in the same boat as, you know, just about everybody, the three others in this room, because I don't know about y'all two. But I ain't got no kids, you know.
I got kids.
I know you got kids. That's why I said I'm in the same boat as these guys. You know, so we are behind the curve if you think about all the other friends.
Yeah.
You know, who's had a
I
kid
saw
at
that
either
too.
20 or 25 or 30, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, but at the same time, it's just like, there is a window to have a kid, but I just don't want to have a kid just to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
You know,
No sense.
like I don't want to just have a kid. You know, like like I don't want to be like I don't want to be like a baby's father. I want to be a father. You know what I'm saying? So it's just why that's why I've been holding out.
son, I really hope there's somebody that's 20, whether it's a female or male that's listening right now, because I listened to this dude on this YouTube page. It wasn't you, Io, but somebody else, where they pretty much said, they said a lot of people get so fixated on this path of while out in your 20s, figure it out in your 30s. You know what I'm saying? So like if somebody that's listening right now that's 20, get to the bag in your 20s. Get that stuff locked in your 20s, and then like work in your 20s. Don't go out there and party. Don't go out there
I mean,
because
you can still party.
I know, but
work, yeah.
realistically, it's one of them things where I think we all follow that blueprint where we just thought in your 20s, let's party. Now in your 30s, try to figure things out. No, realistically, I think a lot of us did that, bro.
I partied in my 30s. Nah, late 20s.
You got to almost think about
But
like
I
how the
get you,
times
yeah, yeah.
return. You got to see like the cats that were like 25 and 30 when we were growing up. You know what I'm saying? When they had that 10 or 12 years on us, and we was looking at them like, yeah, man, we turned 25. This is what we got to do. When we turn 30, this is what we got to do. Now we're that age, and the kids looking at us like,
Because
that's what we got to do. You know?
But that's
So
the
it's
scary
just-
thing
it's just-
because we didn't even. Now that I know that the teachers that I had were the same age that I am now, if not younger, at that time I didn't know that. So I was listening to something else where Will Smith had the #1 song in the country, and he still was in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when I was
was
watching
still
Fresh
going to high
Prince,
school.
bro, I thought Will Smith was probably like 30 years old when I was watching Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Maybe not 30, you know what I'm saying? But
Shout out
I
to Fresh
thought,
Prince. Today's the 30-year anniversary of the first episode.
oh, that's
They're
crazy.
doing a reunion show on HBO.
Okay.
Oh, for real? When that dropped?
They haven't said it yet.
That's crazy. No,
Sorry.
but
Fact, man.
hold on. Sorry, I got a random thought. So
Another one?
random. We all heard about the OBJ thing, right? Odell Beckham. We all heard about that. Here's my take on it though. If somebody shits on you, what happens after that?
All right.